Okay, so it's September 2022 and this video shows you the best way, in my opinion, to set up your Fire TV stick or your Fire TV Cube so that you get the best out of it, the best performance, the best apps, the best all round. Details coming up. Don't forget to like this video, share it and subscribe to my channel. Doing these three things will help us make more great videos for you. So first of all, I've just set up this Fire TV stick. So the first thing I would suggest doing is to go across to the settings cog just over there, okay, and then go down and across to network. Find the network that you're connected to and then press the play pause button on the remote control, and then hopefully you should see what the status is of your Wi-Fi. Now you'd need to ensure that it says no issues were found with your network connection. If you've got issues, then obviously you do need to address them, i.e. you need to move your Fire TV stick to a better location, or your Fire TV Cube to a better location, or your router, or if you can, get a wired connection, an Ethernet connection for the best possible connection. But if you can't do that, have a look, see if you can upgrade your router. Ask your ISP if you can upgrade your router to a better one, which will give you a better signal, or think about investing in a mesh network. These tend to provide a better Wi-Fi connection. But anyway, if it's showing that there's no connection issues found, then you should be okay. Okay, so press the back button a couple of times to come out of this. So the first thing we really want to do is go down to My Fire TV, middle button on the remote control, and then what we need to do is we need to go into About, just there, middle button, and then go down to Update. And you might see, if you've just set it up like mine has, it's saying downloading update. Now if it is, let it download. It might take a little while. The white bar like mine might just hang there for a while, and then in the end it will say install update. So once you see install update, middle button on the remote and let it install. Don't be tempted to power off your Fire Stick or your Fire TV Cube at this point, because it will mess it up, it will corrupt it, and you might have to end up buying a new one. So don't be tempted. However long it takes, just leave it. Right, there you go, mine's done. It did take about 5 minutes to do that. I did pause the video, but if you don't see downloading update and if you see check for updates, then make sure you highlight that again, middle button on the remote control, and let it check for updates and wait until it says your Fire TV is up to date. It might also be worth just trying pushing that button a couple of times on check for updates, because you may well find that it does say that your Fire TV is up to date, but sometimes there might be a few more updates still to come through. So it's just worth keep sort of pushing the middle button just a few times just to see if it finds any more updates. Okay, so if it doesn't, then the next thing we need to do is we need to go back, and then we need to go back into the settings cog just over there, middle button, and then what we need to do is we need to go down and across to display and audio. Go into there, go into screensaver, and once we're in screensaver, really we want to turn this off, because on some sticks and cubes it will take up a lot of memory on there. So what we want to do is, current screensaver is showing as Amazon collection, we can leave that. Slide style is dissolve, we can leave that. Slide speed is medium. Start time, we want to go into start time, middle button on the remote, and change that from 5 minutes or whatever it is to never. Then we need to go down to date and clock just at the bottom there, turn that off, go to display info, make sure that's turned off. Alexa hints, turn that off as well. Shuffle, doesn't really matter, but that is switched off. So press the back button on the remote. Then we need to go down to display, and what we need to do is we need to calibrate the display there. So where it's got no scale, we want to just make sure that the arrows here meet the edge of the screen. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing the up and down parts of the ring on the remote control just until the arrows meet the edge of the screen. Now you're going to find on some Fire Sticks you can't do this. It relies on the TV selecting the best resolution for your screen and the best fit for your screen. So some Fire Sticks, no, you won't be able to do this, but if you can, it's always good to do this. So once you've done that, select accept just there, middle button, okay, and then just check. We just want to make sure that video resolution is on automatic, match original frame rate, leave that off. Color depth is 8 bits, color format is automatic, calibrate display depends on your own display, and dynamic range settings is set to always HDR. Press the back button on the remote, go down to audio, okay, and this is something I'd recommend. Turn the navigation sounds off. You know that click you get every time you move? That's annoying to me, so I always turn that off. So just change that from on to off, and there you go. You won't get the navigation sounds. Surround sound there, it should be best available, but if you are finding that you have problems with lip syncs, then try PCM, Dolby Digital Plus or Dolby Digital and see what is the best for you. Advanced audio, go into that. Volume leveler should be off and dialogue enhancer should be off, unless you're having problems with the volume levels being all over the place or you can't hear what's being said. Dialogue enhancer will try and enhance the dialogue as it says, and to turn these on you just highlight it, middle button on the remote, and it goes from off to on. Highlight again, it goes back from on to off. So back button on the remote. Next thing we want to do is just want to check that our audio and video is in sync. So go down to AV sync tuning, middle button on the remote, and this here produces a sound, and every time that ball hits that paddle it should beep like mine is, and that means that the audio is in sync. If it's not in sync, then what you can do is you can use the left and right parts of the circle on the remote to adjust it until that ball actually does make a noise as it's bouncing off the paddle. So once you've changed it, go to apply, and that sets it, and then press the back button there. Back button again. The next thing we want to do is go down to HDMI CEC control. Now this helps control the TV, so it should, although it doesn't on a lot of TVs, it should automatically change the HDMI port to whatever you've got the Fire Stick or the Cube plugged into whenever you press the home button on the remote control. It can also turn the TV on and off, but not all TVs do have this facility. So if yours doesn't work, then the first thing to try is checking on your system, on your TV should I say, that you've got HDMI CEC turned on, which is also known as VeraLink I think on some TVs. Each TV seems to have its own name for it, but anyway, you're looking for something along the lines of HDMI CEC on your TV's control panels, but don't lose too much sleep over it if it doesn't work, because I've got a few TVs it works perfect on and a few that I just can't get it working at all on. So like I say, don't spend too much time on that. If we go down to audio and video diagnostics, this will tell us what the TV is capable of. Press the back button a couple of times there. The next thing we want to do is we want to go into applications, and then what we want to do is we want to go into App Store there, and automatic updates, we want to leave those turned on. So if there's any updates for our apps that we got from the App Store, they'll automatically be updated. Go to external market links, go into there, and really I'm just going to say don't open on this, because we don't want external links opening from within any apps. In-app purchases, I like to turn this off as well. It's set to on as standard, so turn that off. Okay, and also notifications. Turn off notifications for apps. That's probably the best thing to do, so you don't get bombarded with loads of notifications there. Press the back button, go down to Amazon Photos, middle button, okay, and we want to turn off allow guest connections, so we don't want people uploading photos or looking at our photos on here, so turn that off. And access Amazon Photos. Now I don't use Amazon Photos, so I'm going to turn that off. So I'm going to go middle button on the remote and middle button again and middle button again, and sometimes you'll find that that hasn't disabled. So just go back into Amazon Photos again, and it has actually disabled there, but allow guest connections has remained on. So I'm going to go back into allow guest connections, middle button, and turn that off. Then press the back button and then the middle button again to go back in, just to make sure that it has actually gone from on to off. There you go, it has this time. So back button on the remote control, back button again, and then we want to go down to preferences, middle button. Now we can go into parental controls if we want and turn those on. That's if we don't want people fiddling around with our Fire TV stick or cube. So you can turn that on, and once you turn it on, you can set a pin code for it. So all you do is just use the circle on the remote control to select the numbers. So, and if you want to choose numbers from 5 to 9, then press the hamburger menu button on the remote control to do that. So that changes from 6 to 9 there, or 5 to 9 should I say. Press it again to go back. But like I say, if you don't want to set a pin, you don't have to, but you've got the option there if you need to. So just press the back button if you don't want to do that. Go down to privacy settings, middle button on the remote control, and we've got here, I like to turn these off. Device usage data, turn that off. Middle button again. Collect app usage data. No, I don't really want data being sent. I want to use all my bandwidth that I've got for this. So turn that off again. So interest-based ads, no, don't want that. So turn that off again. And there we go. Just make sure that all three of those are switched off. Back button once. Data usage monitor here. It's up to you whether you have this turned on or not. I mean, I would say if you're on an unlimited connection, then turn it off. It's the only reason that you should have it turned on is, say, if you're on a limited connection. So if you've got a certain amount of gigabytes each month you can use this to monitor how much you're using and set an alert once you come close to that monthly allowance. You can also set the video quality from best to good to basically use less bandwidth, so that Amazon Prime Video uses less bandwidth. The picture quality isn't as good, the sound quality isn't as good, but you'll be able to use it for longer if you're on a limited connection there, or a low bandwidth connection. That's good for as well. But for most people, if you're on a unlimited connection, turn data usage monitoring off. Back button once, go down to notification settings, middle button, and we've got here do not interrupt. I'll turn that on. Don't want notifications popping up on the screen. And again, you can go into app notifications, and anything listed in there that's switched on, turn it off, so you don't get disturbed with all these notifications. Featured content, if we go into that, we've got allow video autoplay and allow audio autoplay. Now you might be wondering what this is. This is where on the home screen it basically gives you, there you go, a video. So and noise there. We don't want that. We don't want that, so let's turn that off. It uses bandwidth, it uses CPU power, and also it uses RAM. So let's turn that off. So let's just go into featured content, allow video autoplay off, allow audio autoplay off. Okay, and once we've done that, now when we go up on the ads, it doesn't show us any video ads. So there you go, back button now on the remote control. And let's go into the App Store just by going up to the magnifying glass just there, then down, then middle button on the remote control. Now this is the one priceless app that everybody needs. That's Downloader, and that enables you to download apps from outside of the Amazon App Store. So all you need to do is type on the on-screen keyboard Downloader, and as you're typing it, as you'll see, Downloader will appear below. Once you see it, highlight it, middle button on the remote control, and you're looking for this orange and white icon here under apps and games. Once you see that, highlight it, middle button on the remote control, okay, and then middle button again to start downloading it. Now there you go, it comes up, you've got an app. It might not come up with this if you've downloaded other apps in the past, so but because this is a new stick, it says you've got an app. So middle button on the remote control, middle button again to go into it, And this is very important. We need to allow downloader to access photos, media and files on your device. If we deny it, then it ain't going to work. So make sure that allow is highlighted. Middle button on the remote control and middle button again after you've had a look at this quick start guide. So the next thing we need to do to allow downloader to work fully is we need to go into developer options. So let's just go across to the settings cog over there on the right and then go down to My Fire TV, and what we're looking for is developer options, which should be below About. Now if it's not, like mine, then what we need to do is we need to turn those on. So to do that we need to go into About, okay, and then we need to make sure the name of our device is highlighted. Now I'm on a Fire TV Stick 4K, so there you go, you can see that's highlighted, Fire TV Stick 4K. Yours might say something different. Whatever it says there at the top above storage, make sure it's highlighted, and then grab your remote control, and what you need to do is you need to press the button in the center of the circle, and you need to press it 7 times. So let's just do that now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you can see it says you're now so many steps away from being a developer, and as I'm pushing it they go, no need, you're already a developer. Now what we need to do is we need to press the back button on the remote control once, and there you go, you can now see developer options is there. So highlight it, go into it. Now depending on what version of the Fire OS you have, you'll either have apps from unknown sources there, or you might have something different, and we'll go through that in a moment. So if you've got apps from unknown sources like mine and it says off, highlight it, middle button on the remote control, and then middle button again. But if you have install unknown apps, go into it, select downloader and make sure that you've got the word on beneath it. Like mine, I've got off, so highlight it, middle button on the remote, and that then goes to on. And then keep pressing the back button until we go back to here. So a couple more apps that are handy for us to use are, if we go into the magnifying glass here, go down, middle button. One is called Silk. So type Silk. This is a browser for the Fire Stick and the Fire TV Cube, and as I'm typing it, Silk browser appears underneath. Highlight it, middle button on the remote, and this is what we're looking for here, internet. So highlight that, middle button, okay, and if it's not installed it will ask you to install it. Mine says it has an update, so I'm going to let it update. So I'm going to go into update there, and then middle button on the remote control, and there you go, it starts downloading. Now this bit might take a bit of time, just be patient with it. It really depends on the speed of your internet connection and the speed of your Fire Stick, but eventually downloading will either go to installing or it will go to open, and that means you can browse the internet. So very, very handy for your Fire Stick or your Fire Cube. As you can see, mine's now installing, and once it's installed it will say open. There we are, mine says open, and it's installed on the Fire Stick. So let's just press the back button a couple of times, go back to the on-screen keyboard, and let's just go to delete just over there and delete out Silk, and the next thing we want is to type in there YouTube. So again, as we're typing YouTube, you will see it appear underneath. Once you see it, go down, middle button on the remote, and you're looking for, there you go, the red, black and white icon there under apps and games, YouTube. Middle button on the remote control, and then middle button again, and that will download YouTube to the stick. There's loads of stuff on YouTube, not only just my videos, but other people's. You've also got, in some cases, films and TV shows as well, and the same thing applies. It goes from downloading to installing and then to open. Like I say, brilliant app to have. So keep pressing the back button until you're back to the main menu, and then what we can do is we can go back into downloader and press and hold the picture of the house or the home button on the remote control, go across to apps, middle button, and then find downloader just there. And here we go, we can now go into it and we can try and download some stuff. So first of all, if we are going to go off piste when downloading, then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put an antivirus on our system so that we can check any apps that we download. So just go up on the remote control to get your cursor flashing in there, middle button on the remote control, and just type 21203. That's 21203. Then press the play pause button on the remote control, and then hopefully after a few seconds it should go to my website. Now, amongst the virus checker, there are several other things on here you can have a look at. So let's just go right the way down to the bottom there and back up again, and there we go. We've got Virus Total Mobile. So just get your red circle just anywhere over the logo there, middle button on the remote control, and then let it download. It may take a few seconds to download, just be patient with it. And here we go, it's now downloading. Now once it's downloaded, you should get a screen like this come up. Just keep pressing the down part of the circle on the remote until cancel's highlighted, then press the right part on the remote so that install's highlighted, then middle button, and then let Virus Total Mobile install. Again, might take a few seconds. Once you see app installed, middle button on the remote control. Now this applies to any app. You don't need to keep this. This is just taking up space on your Fire Stick or your Fire TV Cube. And space is something you don't have a lot of on these devices. So press the right hand side of the ring on the remote to highlight delete, then the middle button, and then the left hand side of the ring on the remote to highlight the second delete, and then middle button. And then keep tapping the left hand side of the ring until you see home highlighted, middle button on the remote control, back button twice, press the home button to go back to the main menu, then press and hold the home button until this menu appears, go across to apps, middle button, go down into Virus Total just there, and middle button, and then go into the middle button again to scan your device, just to make sure that you've got nothing untoward. And I would recommend doing this each time you download an app onto your device, just to make sure that you've not brought in anything untoward on your Fire TV device. Now, scanning may take a while, but what you're eventually looking for is all these green sort of ticks on the left of each app. If you do see a red tick or a red box beside it, then you know to uninstall that app. So let's come out of that and let's go back into Downloader. Another great site to go to download things is 885867. So type that in, play pause button on the remote control, and just have a look. And that will link you to other apps that you can download to really enhance your Fire TV Stick or Fire TV Cube. And one more thing, if you find in apps you've got more icons than what you've downloaded, you might find that it's showing some of the stuff that you've got in the cloud. So if, say for instance, I've got Sky News. Now I don't want this on here. I've not installed it, but all I need to do is just highlight it, press the 3 horizontal lines, okay, and you'll see on the bottom right hand corner here you've got options here. One of them is remove from cloud. So highlight remove from cloud, go down to the second remove from cloud, middle button, and as you'll see in a second, that will disappear. So you can do that for any apps on there that are not installed. Or if you want to get rid of an app, say for instance you've installed an app and you thought, actually no, I don't want it. Like for instance, let's just go up to say for instance YouTube. Let's go into that, press the hamburger menu or the 3 vertical lines, and there you go, you've got uninstall there. So uninstall, yeah, go to the second uninstall, there you go. There's going to be some apps that you can't get rid of, things like this one here for instance. You can hide it, but you can't actually uninstall it. So these are apps that are included with the Fire TV Stick and Fire TV Cube, and they're Amazon apps. Amazon subsidise the Fire Stick and the Fire Cube, so fair play to them if they want to keep those apps on there. So there you go. Hopefully that gives you some ideas on how to ensure that your Fire TV Stick or Fire TV Cube runs at its best and you can get the most out of it. Don't forget, whilst you're at my YouTube channel, have a look round. I've got thousands of other videos covering all sorts of subjects. Hopefully you'll find something to educate you, entertain you, and maybe even amuse you. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, hit that like button. If you think your friends, your family or your work colleagues might like it, then don't forget to share this on your social media timelines. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you find out about all my latest videos the second they're released. Hit that subscribe button, then hit the bell, then hit all. You can also find me on Twitter at CWTech, and also find my website at cwtech.co.uk. Liking, sharing and subscribing really helps support this channel. Thank you very much.